Okay, hi, welcome along. We're going for number 2 in the DIY cabinet series. So, a lot's happened since the first one, so I'll give you a quick overview and then I'm going to show you some of the exciting things that we've got and some of the new purchases that are helping to bring it to life. The metal frame construction is now complete. I might have to make some tweaks as time goes by, but as it stands at the moment, it is done. As you can see, I've now got all the metal work on. All nice and solidly attached. I've checked and it's all pretty close to level, bearing in mind it is on a concrete floor, and pretty damn it's solid as well now, which is always a bit of a concern. I do have some slight adjustments to make to it, finish tightening everything up, but it's looking pretty good. One of the things I've had to do to give it plenty of structural rigidity is use my triangle plates. So I've got one here and one over the other side, one there, repeat it on the other side, down the front, down here, I've got one, trying to see which best angle to show you it, down here, and that's mirrored at the back as well, and obviously over there and over there. And they're stopping it from moving backwards or forwards too much. As you can see, it's not particularly moving. So what I'll have to do is go around and tighten all the bolts, obviously once it's all done. But yeah, we're finally making a bit of progress now. I might put a little bit more structural strength in it. What I'm thinking of doing is getting 2 of my off-cut pieces and effectively doing, well, you get the gist, the idea, putting something like that in there and just trying to make it a bit stronger. Worst comes to the worst, I might even just do that, just to try and just beef it up a little bit, but they are now functionally, that is one single unit. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to take the cases out and then it'll be look at the wood, or look at getting some wood to attach to the sides. It's now attached to a chipboard base, which has also got the wheels on, which I'm going to use, obviously moving it around because that's what wheels are for. Now, this piece of chipboard here, this is my base, if you will. You're looking at it from upside down. This edge here will go at the front. Again, this bit will be pointing down. So that means this edge along here, that's all the back. Now, what I've done so far is I've gone along and I've marked, as you can see along, you can't really see it very well, I apologise, but 80mm in on all the corners. Now here's the wheels, as you may remember from the last video. High wheels, spin. The reason I've done 80 in is, as you can see, that is basically the closest square in I can get it, so whichever way around I mount the wheels, i.e. this way or that way, the wheel will not protrude out from underneath the cabinet. The space it's going in is quite tight, so I don't really want it to be sticking out to the side and causing gaps and looking naff. Now what I've done, as you can probably tell, I'll get that out of the way, 4 marks on the wood there, so that I can see whereabouts I was positioning this, so it lines up relatively nicely with the edges I've drawn. There we go. And again, the wheel doesn't come out. So I was working on mounting this, and I was like, right, okay, thin piece of metal, chipboard, bish bash bosh, done. Got that. So I was like, right, well, that could work, right? Then I actually put it on it. I was like, yeah, should be fine, shouldn't it? And oh, fits through the hole, no good. I'm like, right, well, okay, fine. Let's get something a bit bigger. Dunno. Oh, bugger. Same problem. Now these are self-tapping screws, because you've also got to bear in mind that although this is a lovely bit of chipboard, it is only that thick. Now these are 3/4 of an inch, these screws, and obviously, allowing for the bit of metal, it probably would have gone into about there, roughly. A bit difficult to show you because I've got fat finger syndrome going on. But either way, that wouldn't have left much room in it for slack. So, back to the drawing board with that one. So I was like, right, what's my other ideas? Let's use some bolts then and bolt it in. I found these, I was like, ooh, that's a nice solid bit of metal, that is. Let's give it a test fit. So I'm like, bam! I was like, could grab a second one, but I can't be bothered. I was like, Oh my god, it's a perfect fit. Hallelujah. Then I realised I didn't have enough. So that one had to go back on the reject pile as well. So this is what I've settled with. These, as you can see, on slightly skinnier bolts, same sort of length, but they are a bit skinnier. Now I'm not so worried about these. One, because I've got 4 of them to a wheel, but 2, because when this is actually attached, it didn't come through, almost, but not quite. But when this is actually attached, because the weight's going to be pushing this down anyway, it's actually not really going to be an issue for me. You know, I just need it to hold it when I lift it off the ground. And once it's in, it's not really going to ever be lifted off the ground, so it doesn't really matter. It'll only be to stop it moving around as opposed to up and down. So, as you can see though, I've got to be a bit careful because it don't fit that way. So, it does mean that when I put it in, I have to put it in the other way and have the slack, if you will, pointing up. One option would in theory be to trim these down to an appropriate length, but considering what's going on the inside of this, I'm not too worried. So what we're going to do, we're going to have the actual bit there, and I've got spring washer here, a regular washer here, see that? So we go spring washer, regular washer. Regular washer will then go onto that, so it's effectively going to be mounted like that. Ding. Brilliant. Then at the other side, ta-da, to hold it on. And I had enough of those to do it all, as you can see. So that's my plan. Next up, it will be to drill these holes and mount this bit. And I've also put in the 3 base fans that are going to supply the cold air into the case. I haven't done the top yet because that's where the exhaust is going to be, and that's next on my to-do list. I do have the majority of the actual wood required to make it, so fingers crossed it's going to happen quite swiftly, but either way we're making some serious progress. Now a few little... Hey guys, right, so I'm attaching the fan on the bottom now. These are going to suck all the air in for the case. What you've got is you've got effectively the front will be here, the back is obviously going to be here, and then the 2 sides. As you can see, I've got 3 fans. I'm just about to do this one down here, the 3rd one now. I'm using the Noctua fans for it all, try and keep it quiet but get good airflow. The reason that I've only done 3, obviously you've got 1, 2 and what will be 3, is because the back along here, there isn't really anything that draws air in from behind, it all draws air in from the front, so I don't really feel a need for it. And also my UPS power supply type battery backup will be sat in that area, so if I had a fan there it would just be blowing air onto it, which is, you know, nice but not really necessary, and at the cost of these fans that's not really justifiable. If further on down the line I find I need a bit more airflow, what I'll do is I'll probably just put another fan in the middle there and go from there. Now, these first 2 fans are actually already attached, as you can see. Nope. And no. So how we're doing it, and I've already done 3 of them here, we've got one of these bad boys. Now, underneath here, obviously, there is some mesh. This is just cheap off of Amazon stuff, but it's pretty good. And then you can just poke it up through there. I've done the holes quite tight so it will hold it. I've then got these little washers out of my sound deadening kit. They're obviously designed to have a piece of metal in between them, or to be popped through a screw hole effectively, and that will sound deadening, but obviously that isn't going to quite work on wood of this thickness. So instead we're using them like fat washers, and you can just pop them on like that, and then as you can see, look, you give it a little, you don't give it a little push down because apparently it's too tight. Anyway, one more time. There we go. Fat fingers. Anyway, so that goes on there. These will then go through the holes. As you can see, the sides of the fans are clear, so I can poke them through. And if I come down here, you can see the end result. can I get it so you can see that there is a little bit of clearance? Yeah, you can see it from there. Just a little bit of clearance, both underneath here and through the top there. Here, eventually, I'm going to put some sound deadening material down on this, and that is going to help keep the noise down. I've got my washers and bits over here, and that's it really. That'll be the base done. So anyway, let's go. Now, a few little things I've got to go with it recently. So the first thing I bought are these. Bought them off Amazon. Only a couple of quid. I'll put a link down in the description for anyone who's interested. And they are just dust filters. So as you can see, they block dust. That is actually all they do. It's fantastic, isn't it? Now, you might have noticed there's a large stack of white here and a little bit on top. I actually already had this, but this is going to be using it. This is my NZXT. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, NZXT. Does it tell you what's called? It's called the Sentry Mix. I don't know why it's mixed. I guess because it's got the different bits in it. Anyway, this is a fan controller, the long and the short of it, for controlling the fans. It's got 6 options, and I'm using 6 fans. Going back to the white boxes, you can see all 6 of my fans are the same thing. I've bought NFA14 fans. So that's 140mm fans, which is why this is 140mm, in case anybody's wondering. And they are what are going to provide the cold air in and out of the case. Chassis, cabinet, whatever you want to call it. So, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, right, you've got 6 fans then. That's a lot of power. What are you powering it with? Well, I'm actually using this. Now this is only a test setup at the moment, so please be kind. Can you guys see that? Let's just make it so you can. My new mini 120 watt PSU. It's made by a company, there we go, here's the box for it. Put it back down now. It's made by a company called Nano 120. It's a fanless 120 Nano PSU. That I've recently purchased. It's pretty much what it says on the box. It is this board here, is it? It doesn't really have anything else to it. Which way do we get this way? There is a separate power brick, and that is just the adapter bit. Now it's 24 pin, which is pretty handy. But yeah, so that is going to power all of my fans. As you can see, I've actually got 3 here at the moment. I am using it. I'm just testing it to make sure it's all good, because everybody knows, don't put anything in your computer until you've tested it. Now, all 3 of the fans are running on different adapters. So the middle fan, this is actually fan 1. This is running off of just a straight connection into the ZXT, as you can... ZXT? NZXT. As you can see, they're all set to minimum at the bottom down here, and that was running straight. In the box, it does come with these handy little Molex adapters. So, come on camera, focus here. Woohoo. Anyway, it's a 3-pin to Molex. You know what they look like. No one's really interested in those. They also come with these low noise adapters. Now they come with 2 of them. One is NARC10 and one is NARC11. They are literally just small 3-pin to 3-pin extension cables, if you want to call it that. They're all volted down to, I'd assume, 6 volts, but I guess they're slightly different because they've got different numbers, and a single 3-pin extension lead, which is probably about 30 centimeters in length. Now, what I thought we'd just quickly do is just test out the differences. I've not used any of these before, so I don't really know what they're going to work like. But, in fact, do you know what we'll do before that? I don't know how many of you have worked with these fans before, but I haven't, and they are very quiet. Now, this is at the slower speed, so 2 aren't spinning and that one is. Here is a decibel meter. It's not an official one, obviously. This is just one off the Play Store. I think it's called Sound Meter. And when I'm not talking, I'm getting about 40 decibels coming up on there. Okay, so if I move it right in front of this fan here, that is actually showing at 42-ish decibels, which is basically the same noise as the room. If I turn it up to halfway, that's going to be about there on the ZXT, NZXT. I will get there eventually. So that's now pushing about 50 decibels, which is still pretty good, you know, considering how close the phone actually was to the unit. Now at full speed, so that's coming in at just over 50. What we're now going to do is we're now going to look at both of these. Now this one here, this is fan 2. This is running the RC10, I do believe it was. Yes, the RC10. And this one here, which is fan 3, is running the RC11. And what we're going to do is we're going to see how far up the slider I need to come to get them to move. Okay. So that was just over a third, nearly halfway. Let's see if we can get it to start up. As I thought. So now that it's started spinning, which obviously requires more power, it is still moving. Now that is actually going a bit faster than you guys can see. That's just to do with the camera angle. It's now stopped. So if we crack her up to, I'm going to go for about a third this time. No, a bit more. Bit more than that. So we're now at the halfway mark and she's not spinning at all. So we have to go above halfway, and that is now max. So that channel has obviously decided it don't want to play ball. So we'll spin it on half. Now that one has had enough, doesn't want to play anymore. Now let's try this one by comparison. I'm going to go straight to a third, which is about there. And yeah, there we go, as I thought, so about a third. Spinning out a third, do we get much noise out of it? So about third speed, that one's getting off about 50-ish decibels, maybe slightly more, but it's going to be getting a bit more direct noise from the actual unit itself. What I am just going to do is reset this one. And oh yeah, you probably saw it move then, so let's just bring that up to, yeah. So both of these use about a third to get them going on this unit. Now this unit packs about 50 watts to a channel, so as you can imagine that's a fair bit, but I don't know if you're going to be able to make that out. Yeah, you can make that easy on the camera. Number 10 obviously over here, and number 11. Number 11 is spinning slower than number 10 at a third, which you would expect because it's a large number, so it's going to be a large resistor. Anyway, so that's the fans I'm using. Let's whack them all up to maximum and see if we can still see a speed difference. You can definitely see something in there, mainly between the unresisted and number 10. Number 11 just looks pretty close to it, but that's not the point. The point is that in theory, I'm not going to use it anyway, just thought I would test. Anyway, that's about it for that. Stay tuned for part 2.